Hello, this is Jeff at Magical Fruit Toots. In this Photoshop tutorial, I will show you how to turn a photo of a woman into the X-Men character Mystique. Actresses aren't the only ones who may be shapeshifters. There are a few politicians who also could be. If you like these pictures, they're on a page in my website. There's a link in the description area. Open up your image in Photoshop. Use an image where the subject is looking straight ahead into the camera, preferably with their mouth closed. Unlock the background image. Black and white images work best. So if your image is in color, press Shift-Control-U to desaturate it. I used a picture of Angelina Jolie. The link is in the description area. Your picture may differ, but if you want to work with the Jolie image, use the rectangular marquee tool. Make the style fixed ratio and the width 510 and the height 632. Drag out a selection from the top down. Then choose Image, Crop. Choose Image, Image Size from the menu. Change the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. The image size should change to 3067 by 3800. Press Ctrl or Command 0 to fit the image to the screen. Save as a Photoshop PSD file. Now we need to cut out the subject from the background so that we can apply skin color and spots later. I chose to use the pen tool to cut out the subject, mainly because the right shoulder and neck is a tricky selection as the background is very similar to it. Use whatever selection is easiest for you for your image. Choose the pen tool. Make sure settings are set to path. Add a layer mask. Make sure it is selected. Start drawing the path. Select the entire subject. Carefully get smooth curves, especially on the shoulders and neck. Here are the paths that I drew. Right-click and choose Make Selection. With no feather and anti-alias checked, make sure your foreground color is black. Press Ctrl-Shift-I to inverse the selection. Press Alt-Backspace to fill the mask with black. Press Ctrl-D to deselect. Name the layer Cutout. We are going to add a temporary background layer to help us differentiate the background from the subject. Hold down Ctrl while selecting the Add to New Layer icon. Double-click the foreground color to choose the color picker. Make number E5B350 your foreground color. Name it BG. Press Alt-Backspace to fill it in with a pale gold color. Go back to the cutout layer. At this time, we need to inspect the cutout layer and touch up any problems. Make the layer mask active. Use a hard round black brush to remove areas of blur which are not part of the hair or body. Also clean up any jagged edges as demonstrated. When satisfied, right-click and choose Apply Layer Mask. Next, we'll add a Levels Adjustment layer to lighten up the shadows. Make the cutout layer active. Add a Levels Adjustment layer. Choose Lighten Shadows from the Presets drop-down. Click the Clip to icon. Name it Lighten. Next, we will add a layer by which we can control darkness and lightness in specific areas as needed. This is an alternate non-destructive way to make dodge burn type adjustments to specific areas. Go back to the cutout layer. Press Shift-Control-N to add a new layer. In the New Layer dialog box, change the name to Dodge Burn. Check the Clipping checkbox if it is not already checked. Make the mode Overlay. Now check the Fill with Overlay Neutral Color 50% Gray box. Press OK to accept. Now we will start working on the skin color. We will be using a solid color adjustment layer here and other places in the tutorial. This will easily allow us to adjust the colors later as needed. Make the lighten layer active. Add a solid color adjustment layer. Make the blue color of number 022964. Click OK. Then, while holding down the Alt or Option key, move the cursor between the skin color layer and the layer below it. When the little downward arrow appears, left-click the mouse to accept it. Name the layer Skin Color. Make its blending mode Color Burn. Now add a vibrance adjustment layer. Set the vibrance to +90 and the saturation to +90. Click the Clip To icon to clip it. Notice how dark our collarbones are. This darkening is a side effect of the color burn blend, which darkens the dark areas and lightens the light areas. We need a color burn, so we must lighten these specific areas. At this point, we need to lighten the two dark areas of the collarbones and below the neck. Choose the Dodge Burn layer. Make your foreground color white. Use a soft round brush, size 150, at 12% opacity. Paint over the dark areas as demonstrated. Don't worry about painting outside her body, as the Dodge Burn layer is clipped to it. If you mess up, you can Ctrl-Alt-Z to undo, or you can paint over it with a 50% gray brush to correct. If you really mess up, just refill the entire area with a 50% gray using the Edit Fill menu. Her lips need some brightening, so paint a little over her lips to lighten them. Next, we'll make the eyes a yellowish color, as all shapeshifters have reptilian yellow eyes. We'll put the eyes on a separate layer so we can apply specific adjustments separate from the cutout layer. Make the cutout layer active. Press Q to activate the Quick Mask tool. Choose the Brush tool, use a soft brush with 50% hardness and 100% opacity. To see things better, temporarily turn off the skin color and lighten layers. Paint in the eyes and eyeballs on both eyes. When done, press Q to activate the selection. Now press Ctrl-Alt-J to duplicate the eyes to a new layer. When the new layer dialog appears, name the new layer Eyes. Move the Eyes layer to the top of the layer stack. Add a color fill layer to the eyes. Use color number F1D037. Click OK to accept. Rename it Eye Color. Make the blend mode Overlay. Then clip the eye color layer to the eyes layer. This would be a good point to make the hair layer. Select the cutout layer. Use the Quick Selection tool, size 40, to make a quick selection of the hair as demonstrated. Make sure all areas of the outside part of the hair are selected. Where the hair meets the forehead and face, hold down the Alt or Option key and adjust your selection so only areas of all hair are selected. We will fix the hair roots with the Refined Edges tool. Select Refined Edge button. Click the View Mode thumbnail to view all the view modes available. Press the V key or double-click the Overlay view to activate Overlay view. Right-click the Radius brush and make sure that the Refined Radius tool is selected, set to 0.7 pixels. Start painting over the hair roots as demonstrated. We want the hair on a separate layer so we can work filters and adjustment layers without affecting the cutout layer. When finished, make sure Selection is set as the output method. Then click OK to accept. Press Ctrl-Alt-J to duplicate the selection. Name it Hair. Drag the hair layer to the top of the layer stack. We're going to apply the oil paint filter to the hair and give it a slick alien texture. But first we will make it a smart object, so that later on we can change the oil paint settings if we wish. Right-click the hair layer and choose Convert to Smart Object. Control-click the hair thumbnail to select the hair. Choose Filters, Stylized Oil Paint to apply the oil paint filter. I use settings of Stylization 9.4, Cleanliness 9.7, Scale 6.7, Brush Detail 0.50, Lighting Angle 90 degrees, and Shine 6.5. Your picture may need different settings. Shapeshifters usually have orange-red hair. Next, to color the hair and the hair roots, add a hue and saturation adjustment layer. Check the Colorize box. Press the Clip To icon to clip the adjustment to the hair only. I use settings of hue 0, saturation 50, and lightness plus 18. Close the Properties box. Some of the hair roots that are too fine to be selected are showing through the cutout layer. To remove them, select the cutout layer. Press Shift-Control-N to add a new layer. Name it Touch Up. Now choose a soft brush at 67% opacity at around size 90. Fix as demonstrated. Alt-click occasionally to set the color. Paint out the dark root colors that are not red. Since you are working below the hair layer, don't worry about painting behind the existing red if needed. Turn back on all the layers so we can see where we are in the process better. To turn back on the clippings, select the vibrance layer, then hold down Shift and select the touch-up layer. Right-click and choose Create Clipping Mask. We're pretty much finished with Mystique. Now would be a good time to make some final touch-ups. The hair by her sideburns was extended a little by the Refined Edge tool. To fix, select the hair layer. Add a layer mask. Select the mask. Use a soft round brush, size 50 at 67% opacity. Start painting out the unwanted areas of the hair. You can also touch up the hairline a little also if you need to. Now we'll adjust her skin some. Your image may need a different shade of blue as its darks and lights may differ. To test various blue colors, double-click the skin color layer. Notice how I test different colors and tones and immediately see the results. I decided on color number 002964 for this image. Next, to save space on the layer panel, we'll hide the hair layer effects. Press the little up arrow alongside the hair layer as demonstrated to hide effects from view. Next, we need to make the spots for Mystique's skin. This is the most time-consuming part of the process. Turn off the vibrance, skin color, lighten, and dodge burn layers so we can see the skin better. Make the cutout layer active. Press Ctrl, Shift, N to add a new layer. Name it Sketch. Check the clipping box if it is not checked, so the sketch will only appear on the body. We need a vertical line down the middle of her face, so turn on the rulers. Choose View from the menu. If rulers are not checked, click the Rulers option to turn them on. We don't want our sketch lines to snap to the ruler guides or the center of the document. So choose View, Snap To. Select None to turn off the snapping. Drag a vertical ruler to about the center of the face. While the sketch layer is still active, select the Brush tool to sketch spots on the left side of her face. Double-click the color picker and choose color number 909090 with a size of 12 and an opacity of 100%. Turn off the touch-up layer. Zoom in and start sketching the outline of the spots on the left side of her face. Don't worry about overlapping lines, as we will be filling the shapes in with black later. Here is the finished rough sketch. Realistically, some of the spots should wrap around the outside of the face, neck, and shoulders. So I added a few random spots at the edges. Since the sketch layer is clipped to the body, don't worry about staying on the edges. Notice that since the head is oval, areas on the outside of the face need to be made more skinny to account for perspective. Also, the spots over the collarbone are thinner and flatter for perspective purposes. This will be a good time to save your work. Next, we will paint and adjust the sketch outlines black. Press Ctrl-Shift-N to add another layer above the sketch layer. Name it Spots. Clipping checkbox should be checked. Choose the brush tool. Leave the size as 12 and the opacity at 100%. Press the D key to change to the default black foreground color. Zoom in and start painting over the sketch outlines. Use the outlines only as a guide, but improve the spots with your black brush. Here is the end result. You can turn off the sketch layer as it served its purpose. Now we will fill in the outlines with black. Tap the right bracket key once to increase the size of the brush to 15. You can paint in black manually by hand with the same black brush. Fill, smooth, and improve as needed with the black paint. Or you can use the Quick Selection tool set at size 15 to select the black outlines. Important, make sure Sample All Layers is turned on. Start selecting each spot from the inside out. Then press Alt Backspace to fill in areas that you have selected. Then Ctrl D to deselect. Continue until all spots are filled in. Delete the sketch layer as it is no longer needed. Turn on the touch-up layer and make it active. And move it below the spots layer so touch-ups will be below the spots. Here is the image with all the black spots filled in. Next we will remove any overlapping outlines on the right side of her face. Then we'll copy all the spots on the left side of her face to the right side of her face. Select the rectangular marquee tool. Make sure the style is set to normal. Choose View, Snap To. Choose All to turn them back on. Make the spots layer active. Drag a selection onto the left half of the screen. Press Delete to remove any sketch lines carrying over to the left side of the screen. Deselect the selection. Press Ctrl-Alt-J to duplicate the spots layer. Name it Right Side. While it is active, press Ctrl or Command plus T to activate the Transform tool. Now move your cursor over the center right of the transform border until your cursor turns into a double arrow. Drag the arrow to the left to flip and move the spots to the right side of the face as demonstrated. Press the big check mark or press Enter to accept the transformation. You probably noticed that the spots are not placed well on the right shoulder and neck. To adjust the spots, move to the right side layer. Create a clipping mask. Select the rectangular marquee tool. Then drag a selection around her right shoulder and neck. Now choose Edit, Transform, Warp. Adjust the spots as demonstrated. The right cheek also needs some adjustment. Use the lasso tool to drag a selection as demonstrated. Then hold down Command or Control while dragging to adjust. Repeat again for the spots by the right temple. We are finished with the black spots on both sides of the face, so we will merge them. Hold down Shift and select the Spots layer. Now right-click and choose Merge Layers. Name the merge layer Spots. We no longer need the vertical guideline, so choose View, Show, and toggle off Guides. Now turn all the layers back on to see where we are. Now we will work with her spots. We need to make a layer above the skin and below the hair, only the spots that are clipped to Mystique. Select the Spots layer. Control-click the cutout layer to get a selection of only Mystique. Duplicate the Spots layer by pressing Ctrl-Alt-J. Name it Top Spots. Move top spots below the hair layer. This will have the effect of unclipping some layers. To fix, select the vibrance layer, then hold down Shift and click the Dodge Burn layer. Right-click and choose Create Clipping Mask. Make the top spots layer active. To change the spot's general color to a dark blue, add a color fill adjustment layer. Choose color number 001B4C. Then clip it to the spots layer so only the spots will be affected. Select the top spots layer. Add a bevel and emboss layer effect. Here are some key settings I used. Style, inner bevel, technique, chisel hard, depth 32%, direction up, size 1 pixel, and soften 8 pixels. Highlight mode, color of number BCD6F6, shadow mode, color of number 071280. Next, check the contour box and double-click contour. I used a range of 50%. We are finished with Mystique herself. Finally, we'll add an appropriate background. To save space on the Layers panel, click the Hide Effects arrow on the top spots layer. I found a stormy cloud type image. The link is in the description area. Make the bottom BG layer active. Place in bed the clouds image. Hold down Shift and Alt and drag up from the top right corner to expand it to fit the screen. Press Enter to accept. To smooth out the clouds, choose Filter, Noise, Median. Set to 24 pixels. Drag the yellow BG layer above the storm clouds layer. Clip it to the clouds layer. Reduce the BG layer's opacity to 38%. Add a levels adjustment layer. Clip it. I use settings of 50, 1.0, and 255. I made a fancier background that you are welcome to use. There is a link in the description area. Mystique's image seems to be sitting in the foreground. We need to blur the edges so it will be more connected with the background. We'll use a blur edges method. Move to the top layer. Make a composite image by pressing Ctrl-Alt-Shift+E. Control-click the cutout layer's thumbnail. Then, without letting go of the Command or Control key, hold down the Shift key and click the hair layer's thumbnail to make a selection of Mystique. Choose Select, Modify, Contract. Set to 2 pixels. Apply effect at canvas bounds. Should not be checked. Then choose Select, Modify, Feather at 1 pixel. Apply effect at canvas bounds should also not be checked. Now press Shift-Control-I to inverse the selection. Then press Delete. Deselect. Now turn off the hair, top spots, and cutout layers in order for them not to conflict with the edge blur. Here's a close-up of the softened edge. This concludes the video. Hope you've enjoyed it.